Felix Schellberg has done a lot of incredible work for charities, both in raising awareness, raising funds, and donating his own money. Unfortunately, if you've only heard about him from the recent storm of headlines from big media outlets who are intentionally misleading their readers, you'd think he was literally Hitler. PewDiePie has always been a polarizing figure on YouTube, even before all of this recent nonsense. There's something special about a guy who can sit in front of his computer each day and reach many more engaged viewers than most mainstream media outlets could dream. If news channels were pulling the same kind of viewership as PewDiePie, they'd be over the moon. And he's doing it all by himself, alone in a room without thousands of staff members. That's why there's tons of coverage about PewDiePie's downfall lately, but only whispers about the countless positive things he has done. It's not like outlets haven't covered his charitable contributions in the past, but the tone definitely changed once he started being more critical of the media and the way they have been covering him. The recent character assassination of PewDiePie begs the question: how does raising millions of dollars in cash for great charities measure up compared to making a few off-color jokes that were taken very out of context and then apologizing for it and accepting the consequences? Both of those things are aspects of the PewDiePie character. If you had a magic switch and you could rid the world of PewDiePie's jokes and his charitable contributions, you'd be a monster if you flipped it. We want to tell the other side of the story, that there's more to PewDiePie than a few Nazi jokes that didn't land. By rounding up PewDiePie's great contributions in one place, maybe we can make life a little easier for the journalists, who have time to watch through over 3,000 videos but no time to point out any of the great work that they witnessed in the process of looking for anything even remotely offensive to try to take out of context to use against him. First things first, let's make something clear. PewDiePie made some unpleasant jokes. A few people were very offended. He had to suffer the consequences for that by losing deals with big corporations. That's fine, he admits it, and he even understands it. The thing is, he doesn't need these big companies. He built this himself, just a guy at a computer, so he's not beholden to anyone. As long as he's following YouTube's policies, he doesn't have to answer to the man. That's a terrifying thought for media companies, who have poured billions of dollars into trying to reach people and influence them, for this kid from Sweden to be able to reach many more. During the recent media storm around the hit piece on PewDiePie put together by 3 journalists, nobody really wanted to talk about PewDiePie as a whole. All they wanted to do was to circle the vultures around these short, out-of-context clips with very hyperbolic and misleading headlines, as if their wild conspiracy theories about PewDiePie were actual facts. The journalists also failed to mention how PewDiePie was sorry for the jokes he made, how he didn't expect the 2 Indian guys would actually hold up the sign reading "Death to all Jews" and then say "subscribe to Keemstar." And when they did, he actually felt bad about it. When Fiverr banned their accounts, he donated money so they can set up their own website, and also requested Fiverr to unban them as it was his fault and not theirs. Fiverr ended up unbanning both the accounts that were barred as a result of being used by PewDiePie to make distasteful jokes. None of these things matter, as it'll make PewDiePie look a lot less evil, and that wouldn't tell a story like portraying him as a big evil monster would. PewDiePie has added a chapter into a very important, centuries-long dialogue about freedom of speech and what that really means. You're free to say what you want, but sometimes there will be consequences. He has raised and given millions of dollars to charity. Here's a look at some of the bigger campaigns he's funded, supported, or created. Over 3 years ago, he started a charity water campaign with the goal of raising $250,000. He smashed past that goal along with his supporters, and they were able to collect $450,000 to bring water to people who desperately needed clean drinking water. Some of the communities that benefited from this campaign are the Gasaka community, the Gishore community, and the Gasa community, all from Rwanda. He has continued to raise awareness and money for charity water long after the initial campaign, helping more and more people in need. PewDiePie started an Indiegogo campaign to raise money for Save the Children and used his celebrity to offer up prizes in exchange for donations. For $25, you'd get a custom email from him. For $100, he'd give you a shout-out on Twitter. For $1,000, you'd get a signed pair of headphones. And for $50,000, he'd go and hang out at your corporate office for a day. And 2 of those were claimed, so he was able to give 2 days of his time in order to raise $100,000 for a charity he cares about. Most recently, PewDiePie and some of his YouTuber friends raised $1.3 million for RED, an organization that fights AIDS. Together with Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and Emma Blackery, he hosted a live stream named Cringemas that was split into 2 consecutive segments where the group exchanged gifts with one another in a revel mode Secret Santa of sorts. The money raised from this charitable campaign was used to sustain the production of antiretroviral drugs in impoverished communities affected by HIV and AIDS. He also participated in Apple's Games for Red program, where proceeds from his Tuber Simulator app were donated. PewDiePie detailed the facts and figures of the charity, mentioning that they hope to rid the world of AIDS by 2030. During the time the campaign took place, PewDiePie's game was especially painted red, and a superhero pack was also introduced, with the same hue appearing on all of the in-game characters' clothing and items. PewDiePie and many other top YouTubers teamed up with Ellen for a gaming charity with the goal of raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. The charity initiative was formed around the game Best Friends, and it implied forming 7 teams comprised of famous YouTube stars, including PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Sam Strippin, that will compete against each other. The money raised this way was used to help thousands of African children that were treated for malaria. In July 2016, PewDiePie's subnetwork, Revel Mode, launched an inaugural network-wide charity campaign named #RevelForGood, where throughout the whole month, prominent video creators hosted live gaming streams on Twitch in order to raise money for Crisis Textline, a free 24/7 service that provides counseling to people with mental illnesses via text message. Humble Bundle collaboration packs made with PewDiePie date for some years now. The contributions meant a lot for all kinds of charitable cases. We can measure the money that's publicly visible in these crowdfunding campaigns and fundraisers, but we can't account for any private donations he may have made himself. Also, we can't account for the awareness and butterfly effects created every time someone sees one of the videos about charity and is inspired to be more giving. Even with those X factors out of the picture, we're looking at millions of dollars. We're talking about literally saving people's lives and giving futures to children who may otherwise be in a hopeless situation, giving clean water to people who desperately need it, giving his time and energy to many great causes versus a few bad jokes that were taken out of context by journalists with agendas to mislead and manipulate their readers. Reporters from the same outlet that spent countless hours looking over his videos, contacting Disney and other companies he worked with to try to ruin his career, and publishing a very disingenuous hit piece actually showed up, uninvited and unannounced, at PewDiePie's personal residence, offering him a platform to defend himself. He already has one of the biggest platforms on the planet to do that. If anything, he's the one who could offer them a platform to defend themselves and to try to earn back some modicum of trust and integrity. We hope you've enjoyed our video about PewDiePie's contributions to charity. If you did, please press that like button, as we do appreciate it and it helps us immensely. Now would also be a great time to encourage you to subscribe, because we upload new stuff.
In February 2017, Felix PewDiePie Kjellberg lost his YouTube Red show Scare PewDiePie, his partnership with Disney affiliate Maker Studios, and his membership in YouTube's premium ad service due to some particularly bad behavior. But with over 50 million subscribers and 2 licensed PewDiePie games, his cultural clout remains unparalleled in the weird world of YouTubers, even though he continually crosses the line. So, just how many times has PewDiePie gone too far? Anti-Semitic slogans. In January 2017, PewDiePie hired 2 men via Fiverr to film themselves holding a sign that bore an anti-Semitic slogan. PewDiePie claimed the video was a social experiment to prove that people will do anything for money. For their part, the 2 men in the video, who did not speak English or understand the sign, were banned by Fiverr, apologized, and were appalled by the whole event when they discovered what had happened. As an amateur social experiment, the whole thing was a failure on every level, but that wasn't even the worst of it. He joined ISIS as a joke. Despite a long history of philanthropy and his attempts to foster a kinder, gentler bro army, PewDiePie can't seem to get away from his own anti-Semitic actions. In August 2016, PewDiePie's Twitter account was temporarily suspended when he jokingly tried to join ISIS, arguably the most genocidal anti-Semitic organization currently in existence. New York Magazine's Brian Feldman wrote following the incident, the influential gamer who has more than 47 million YouTube subscribers would have certainly given a serious boost to ICE's social media operation, which heavily leans on the web to address followers, recruit new members, and spread propaganda. The stunt cost PewDiePie's Twitter account its authenticated status and permanently linked his name to ISIS in Google searches. It did not, at the time, cost him his partnership with Maker Studios. Rape jokes. For a time, PewDiePie was making jokes that trivialized sexual assault, echoing the disturbing trend elsewhere in gaming. PewDiePie would shout rape threats at characters in video games. To be more outrageous, he even made a tasteless music video for a song called Shut Up and Sleep With Me. Following an outcry from some of his fans, he cut back on the rape jokes and issued an apology, just one of the many he'd have to make throughout his career. Pay for play. In 2016, PewDiePie was involved in a pay-for-play scandal after he took money from Warner Brothers to make videos about the video game Shadow of Mordor. According to FTC regulations, PewDiePie had to clearly disclose that he was being paid to make a video about the product. PewDiePie and his supporters argued that he had provided adequate disclosure by including a line saying as much in the video description, except the disclosure appeared after the jump. In this instance, Warner Brothers' failure to disclose was far more egregious, in the opinion of the FTC. But that didn't stop the lawsuit. Casual racism. In his most recent debacle, PewDiePie uttered a racial slur while streaming PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on YouTube Gaming. The online backlash didn't take long, with detractors and supporters already drawing battle lines on social media. Another apology quickly followed. One reaction to the latest incident that's been widely circulated is that of game developer Sean Vanneman, who announced on Twitter that his company, Campo Santo, would take steps to block PewDiePie from further use of their content in his videos, saying, "I am sick of this child getting more and more chances to make money off of what we make. He's worse than a closeted racist. He's a propagator of despicable garbage that does real damage to the culture around this industry." Kotaku also points out that on top of every other scandal PewDiePie has found himself in of late, this isn't even the first time he's used the slur on YouTube. If other developers follow Campo Santo, that could potentially cause a game over for PewDiePie's perplexing fame. Let's talk about money. In PewDiePie's video, Let's Talk About Money, he tells the story of working at a hot dog stand on a student loan and not being able to afford a proper computer. Except the YouTube star was never without a multi-million-dollar safety net. Kjellberg's pauper narrative conflicts with actual reality. His mother is Chief Information Officer of Kappahl, a $500 million company, and his father is a corporate executive as well. For Kjellberg to liken himself to a working-class hero misrepresents the facts on a fundamental level. Thanks for watching. Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel.